Hello everyone and welcome to another beautiful game from the semifinals of the FTX Crypto Cup, the knockouts, Jan-Krzysztof Duda versus Levon Aronian. Interestingly, about this match, it's a 4-game match, of course, 4-game rapid match. All the games where Levon had the white pieces ended in a draw, but the game that we've shown where Levon played the Queen's Gambit accepted ended by Levon winning that hard-fought endgame. And here Duda has one last chance. This is the 4th game. He again has the white pieces and Levon again employs the Queen's Gambit accepted, which is fascinating, as if you guys remember, Capablanca even mentioned that the Queen's Gambit is not really a gambit and you don't want to accept that pawn. It's extremely dangerous to accept that pawn, but that's exactly what Levon does, and he does it against a World Chess Championship candidate member, Jan-Krzysztof Duda. So that's really awesome, and this game is just incredible. The first game we've shown in the line featured that very early queen trade, and it was a hard-fought endgame, but here there are no queen trades and there are no endgames, so you guys will enjoy this one a lot. So again, like in game 2, Duda opens with the d4, we have d5, pawn to c4, sorry about that, and Levon again accepts the gambit. D captures on c4. We have e4, e5, everything the same like in game 2. Knight to f3 and the bishop to b4 with check. We mentioned that e captures on d4 is by far the more popular option, but Levon has his own ideas. And here knight to c3. So Duda no longer wants to play bishop to d2, go for very early trades and trade the queen early on. Instead, knight to c3. We have e captures on d4 and now knight captures on d4. We have knight to d7 by Levon, and bishop captures on c4. Knight g2 f6, and both players castle. So castles, and now Duda plays knight d to e2, keeping everything on the board, and saying that he wants to have as much stuff on the board as possible to somehow allow him to actually win the game. And of course, it is as of move 9 that we have a completely new game. We have knight to e5 by Levon, attacking the bishop and offering a queen trade, and Duda says, alright, I can't really prevent a queen trade, so at least bishop to b3, at least I'm gonna get my rook to d1 after you trade queens. But Levon says, nope, you trade queens if you want to trade queens, I want to get my rook to d8 if you decide to trade. So h3, of course they are ignoring each other, queen to e7, now Levon no longer has the queen trade on the table, and rook is coming to d8. We have pawn to f4, kicking away the knight, which of course is possible as the g4 and c4 square are not available, so the knight usually has to go back. But here Levon throws a nice in-between rook to d8, and this is where things get incredibly interesting, as this is the position from the thumbnail. Here there is basically only one good option for Duda, and that is to give up the queen. It's odd, but even though this is the absolute best move for Duda, it's not enough, because Duda has to win this game, and if he captures the rook, although it looks fancy and spectacular and whatnot, it's basically a forced draw, because after queen captures on d8 and queen captures and f captures on e5, okay, now the knight cannot move because the f7 pawn falls, but there's really nothing better. You can give one check, let's say bishop to c5 check, king to h1, and now play knight to g4. And now Duda will not be able to capture the knight because of this checkmate, as the bishop covers the g1 square, so you're going to go after the f7 pawn, rook captures on f7, now threatening all sorts of nasty discoveries. King h8, only good move for Levon would be here, and now let's say bishop to f4, and now we basically get a repetition knight to f2 with check. You do not want to go to g1. So you're going to play king to h2, knight to g4 check. Again, you cannot capture because of this checkmate, and we would most likely see a repetition if Duda actually went for the queen trade, or rather a queen sacrifice with queen captures on d8. So although it looks spectacular, and I'm sure that Duda wanted to play this, it's just that he can't even continue to play the game. That's the problem, and that's why you cannot go for this. So he played queen to c2. Queen to e1 was another good option, allowing knight to d3, but after queen to c2 it just all falls apart for Duda. Bishop to c5 with check, king to h1, now knight to d3, going after that f2 square, and you know that the knight is also coming to g4. So e5, challenging the knight here, but still knight to g4. Again, the knight cannot be captured because of the same checkmate, the bishop covers the g1 square. So after knight to g4, we have knight to e4, But now comes a move that completely destroys Duda. Interestingly, there is only one winning move for Levon here, and he has to be very, very precise. But that's where you guys come in. Feel free to pause the video here and try to find the winning move for Levon while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on bringing our good friend the light square bishop into the game. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's bishop to f5, the only winning move. And now Duda is basically moveless, if that's even a word. This is a huge problem. For example, just to give you an idea, let's say we play knight captures on c5, knight f2 check picks up the queen. So you can play that. What can you play? Well, Duda finds the only good move in the position, and that is knight 2 to g3, putting pressure on the bishop here. But now we just start checking on the f2 square, as that's what this position is all about. So knight d2 f2 with check. And now what do? If you capture with the rook, it does seem like it's possible, but the other knight recaptures. And now after king to h2, we just go bishop captures on e4. And after knight captures, we're going to play knight captures, queen captures, and you can play this, but you're down the exchange, and there's nothing really to show for here. It's a good try, but against Levon, Duda decides that there's no point in playing this. The two rooks, once they are activated, and it's very easy to activate them. For example, you can play rook d4, the other rook comes to d8, and already it's very hard to find moves for white. So instead, Duda tries the only thing that's left, and that is to give up the queen. Knight captures on f2, and Levon happily accepts this. We have bishop captures on c2, knight captures on g4, and now bishop captures on b3, a captures on b3, and now rook to d3. Activating the rook with tempo, attacking the knight, so knight to e4, and now even f5. Trying to finish the game in great style. If, for example, e captures on f6 en passant, then the knight is hanging. But also there are ideas like rook captures on h3, queen captures here, just completely destroying white. So here, knight captures on c5 is played, queen captures on c5, and now knight to f2, attacking the rook here, rook to d5, and now rook to a4. Duda still fighting, but the difference in material is too great. Rook a to d8, rook to c4, attacks the queen. Now queen b5, pinning this rook, and it was in this position on move 25 that Jan-Krzysztof Duda resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. He does have a bishop and knight for a queen, but his position is there's really nothing to even try. It's really a hopeless position, and well, yeah, he just doesn't feel like continuing the game. So what's incredible here is that Levon employed the Queen's Gambit, accepted, won that hard-fought game in game 2 that was very, very hard to win. But then in game 2, where Duda tried something else, he kept the queens on the board, but when it came to this position where basically sorry, not this position, where basically the only good way to continue the game is queen captures on d8, Duda could not go for it because he's already losing the match, and he has to retain winning chances, and by going for the strongest move, he could not do that. So very interesting. It's basically something, if you were analyzing this game as a game in itself and not as a part of the match, then maybe you wouldn't, it would be hard to understand the Duda's choice not to play queen captures on d8, because you can be sure that this is the first move that Duda thought of when pondering on the position, but as it is a part of the match, Duda had to play something else in order to try and prolong this game to maybe win the match, but it wasn't possible. So that's why sometimes when we analyze the games that are a part of a rapid match or a 4-game match, or for a 4-game blitz match, it doesn't really matter. The games will not be as precise and as the moves will not be as strong as you would expect in a classical game, even though the players see the moves and they know that they should play the moves. So it's weird, but it's something that is now just the way it is. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Levon defeats Jan-Krzysztof Duda, a World Chess Championship candidate, and in the other match of Wei Yi versus Richard Rapport, another candidate has fallen, as Wei Yi pretty much annihilated Richard Rapport. First game ended in a draw, then Wei Yi won the next 2 games, so he won with black and with white, and now we will have Levon versus Wei Yi in the finals of the FTX Road to Miami knockouts, which is really, really incredible. So yeah, once again, really hope you guys enjoyed it. Do study the Queen's Gambit Accepted, as you never know when you might have to face it, or when you might surprise your opponent with it. I would like to thank Haya Alwan, Paul Dendio, Francis Air, Babur Nugmanov, and Mago Pink for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the finals until it finishes. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.